So let's talk a little bit about, you said you wanted to make tarot a household name. Why so much passion towards tarot as opposed to other belief systems or methods of divination or what have you?
Because I was not very, I had a strong connection to everything except people. I didn't understand them. They didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And when I was in my late 20s, 27-ish, 28, my older cousin, anyway, we're in Texas on this road trip. And during this trip, she grew up in Fort Worth, so Dallas, so she drags me around to all these cool places. And one of the places she took me was to this little bell book and candle shop. Anyway, we go into this bell book and candle shop. And it was this little tiny store, not even as big as this room probably. And there was a display case. And there maybe at the most 20 decks, 20 different tarot decks in there. It says, pick one.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why? And she said, because you need a visible means of prophecy. I said, why? She said, because you're always freaking people out, and I just pick a damn deck. Well, I looked him over.
I like that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Going back to was the Rider-Waite. I don't know, maybe something attracted me to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, that one. And the store owner, she says, oh, good, that's a very popular deck. I think I paid $18 for it. And this would have been in 78. Yeah. No, really early 79, so 40 years ago. And anyway, we take it back to the hotel. And I laid all the cards out on my side of the room on my bed. And I'm looking them over, and I said, where's the rest of them? Well, she absolutely panicked. And she comes over and she says, she counts them. She says, they're all there. I said, no, there's no card for truth. There's no card for, and just started looking. And she says,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Started keeping notes. Okay. I took meticulous notes. Every day I got my cards out. I did something with them, and I wrote down if it was a spread, which spread, what card in which position, and just tiny, delicate, and would go back days later and fill in blanks, Okay, I didn't really get this one. I had one book written by Arthur E. Waite, and that was the first one. And then I had one by Eden Gray. And I would compare notes on the two as to what their guidelines read. And they're not written in stone, they're guidelines, and what I was getting. And I saw it would take usually around 3 weeks to 3 months for this to kind of evolve into what, and all of a sudden, you get this epiphany where the light dawns over Marblehead, and you go, and the little cherubs drop down with their trumpets, the one. And in this time frame, it began to explain people. Tarot became my Rosetta Stone. Well, that's it. I mean, it's basically takes a hold of your ears and makes you look at it with both eyes and said, now listen. And then I got really snippy, and I would look for decks that had blank cards and make more cards. In fact, at one point I was working with the Robin Wood deck, and I used that one for several years. But they always had an extra card in them, and I thought that was so cool. So anybody that would come in the store where I was working and buy a copy, I would ask for their extra cards. And so they'd crack it open and give them to me. So I had this, I basically extended the deck, I think until about 80 cards at first, the two. And then I just kept adding to it until I finally got like little drawings and, things on them and whatnot. And no notes, they just maybe one word at the bottom. I'd finished the deck. I'd finished all the drawings in it. I did it in 9 months.
Wow.
88 cards.
Yeah.
The back
yeah.
9.
That's good. That's pretty impressive. So as far as the Steel Wizard Tarot, what I like about it is that it's one of those decks that you can almost put yourself in the story because there's the same characters and some of the same pictures. So it's almost like it's a story. Like first you're doing this, and then you're doing this, and now you're doing this, and you can even see the people. You can say, well, this is the person you were talking about, but now look in this card, they're not doing that in their mirror. Now they're holding a sword. I love decks like this because you can really speak to the person you're reading and say, look, in this card you're doing this, and now you're doing this. I like those kinds of decks. And that's the first thing I noticed about it that I liked.
Did you? I had so many people ask me who modeled for this.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
Nobody. This was in my head, and like my cousin said, I don't know who this race of people are that you draw, but they work. I don't either. I just, I don't even know where it came from. It was just in my head and it had to
It's
get
like a
out.
story. There really
Yes.
is a story there. I mean, they're like certain characters, and that's what I like about it. Especially if you're doing like a straightforward reading, because sometimes sometimes it's good to do intuitive, sometimes it's good to do straightforward tarot. And this is a really good straightforward deck. And so when I get stumped during a reading, this is what I go for.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
so what would you say is your favorite card in this deck? Or you can pick a couple if you need to.
Well, there's two. One is the Empress card. Oh, here she is. She's front and center. The Empress card.
Okay.
And my second, well, besides I finally made peace with, oh, there she is the Universe. What I'm trying to say here in the Universe card is we are, as divine beings, we are the conduit for spirit. We are the conduit for the creation force. We are that prism, okay, that takes the light from divinity and white, clear, whatever you want to call it, and we bring it into our physical forms. And since we're so dense in this, and I don't mean dense, I mean because the vibrations are so heavy and so
solid.
Yeah, here. I mean, this is the only place we really actually experience physical reality. Where else can you experience duality except in this dimension?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what this represents is we take these energies into ourselves and acting like crystals, like prisms, we fracture them. Okay. But what we do with that is this is our palette. These are the emotions that we color our world with. And it colors everything. And it doesn't matter if it's, well, like some people, you show them a picture of fire and they think warmth and home, and other people think, oh my God, you're trying to kill me, or destruction, you know, I mean, because fire is change, right? So you have all of these different emotions that you have painted your world with, as it were. And our job as divine beings is to, in this reality, actually learn to blend, not balance. You'll never completely balance it, but to blend them back into a single force of pure creative energy again. So that's my take on it. What I'm saying is using tarot as your Rosetta Stone, it gives you the language that you need. It gives you the words that you need to communicate another person's story to them. It's challenging to be that flexible and that fluid that you can cover pretty well everything that needs to be addressed. Okay? So consequently, that's where tarot is so valuable, is because it can breach that communication gap. You can find the commonalities. Okay, I needed this deck. I needed the extra cards. I needed this imagery. This is my death card. Okay. Yes, then this way I can tell two people and they can tell two people, and eventually it takes tarot out of the closet and into the light, where people that, you know, oh, you read tarot, you must be a witch. Dude, I own a hammer, and that doesn't make me a carpenter. This is the language of the soul. Tarot is the language of the soul, and I have billed the Steel Wizard as that for years now. The important thing is, as you're learning, as you're working, as you're doing your daily practice, write it down. You're not going to remember. I swear you're not going to remember. I don't care how you keep notes. I don't care what you keep them on, but keep notes. Write it down. You will not remember. You might remember how it made you feel, but you're not going to remember what it was. You won't remember. So
we talked about your favorite card. What was the hardest card for you to do?
the Hangman.
Oh,
It's one of my birth cards.
yeah.
And I just couldn't, because the Hangman is about surrender. It is about allowing. And I have really serious control issues.
Don't we all?
And the Hanged Man is one of my birth cards.
Oh.
So I really did not understand why I just couldn't make friends with that card. And I did. I struggled with it. And now when I see the Hanged Man, I don't, oh, geez, not again. It's, okay, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
It took 35 years to come to terms with me. Not the card, me. I used my new deck, and you have Soulfire. Soulfire is this represents inner strength, your inner fortitude, your inner courage.
Mm-hmm.
And because it came up upright and everything else, it tells me that you have finally found your wellspring.
I have. Like within the last few weeks, actually.
Yeah. I mean, you've done something really, really earth-changing here.
Mm-hmm.
You've got everything's sort of in its place. Everything belongs. It is where it's belong. You've got a lot of bear energy to you right now because of the bears.
Oh, yeah.
You've got the white bear and the black bear, but they're also in their young stages. They're kind of like adolescents still, so they've got a lot of growing to do. But here's the beauty of it. You know your place. You know where your strength is. You can tap into it anytime. And in this process, as you expand and grow and let your light shine, you're becoming your own light in the darkness. So when you look at a card like the Hermit card, or which generally follows strength, just realize that as you go through this phase and into the next one, the light at the end of the tunnel isn't a train. It's not the flash of a gun. It's nothing like that. Become the light in the darkness, and that's why you've tapped into this. Is so when the darkness comes, and it will be dark and light. It's never always stable. It's always blending and shifting and changing. Be that light. Be the light in the dark. Okay? Just watch out for moths, that they don't get around you too much.
Really? None of those spirits, because for me, moths are spirits. They always come around when somebody's passed or something, but like that makes a lot of sense because people always tell me I'm the light in the darkness for them. And at the end of my mantra, when I do ritual work, I have this incantation. I say to introduce myself to the universe as I'm doing ritual, and it's got all the goddesses and everything and gods. And at the end I say, and of all that I have been and will ever come to be, Raven and Luna is the moon she that inspires the lighthouse that you seek. But you're saying you be your own lighthouse.
That's right.
I need that.